All right, guys, it's my first time out in the garage since last week. I've been busy. Um, well, it was last Friday. Then Saturday we went over to JJ's. You guys saw the videos of the Enron 64 running, and the game plan is to hit up the track Saturday, and it's just going to be that car. That's going to be our focus, and that's it. It's a one and done deal. I very highly doubt that we're going to get another chance to go to the track. It's all up to him. I'm all for it. I do plan on getting this out to the track one more time at least. Um, and so what I'm doing today is I'm finally going to swap out the cap, rotor, module. The new cap came with a coil, straight from Performance Distributors. Um, and then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take those old parts from the distributor, which still work. May not, just we're going with fresh stuff, but we're going to reuse those parts because they're still good for another distributor. I bought a lockout plate. So I would like to set up a distributor to make the swap at the track and try it out. Obviously, I am going to try it out prior to taking it to the track, probably at the shop, and see how that works out. And then, just playing the distributor game, just swapping it out. So we're going to see if there's any gains there. Obviously, with more initial timing, the engine's going to rev up faster, pack a better punch. And now that we have all of that stall, we can use it. The only reason I have a timing curve in this is because I still drive it on the street. So on pump gas, this car still sees a load, and it's in an area where, I could still encounter detonation as I still run pump gas with iron heads, and I'm at like 10 1/4 to 1 compression. So it's just a safety thing on my end where my entire timing isn't all the way in until like almost 3,000, and I still cruise at lower 2,000 RPM, even if I am a little bit on, not completely flashing the converter. It still sees a load. So, and the converter doesn't entirely spin until it gets to that RPM, which is like a misconception. A good converter is going to do its thing on the street regardless of overall stall. So, on the street, this thing still drives under load at, 2,000 RPM. So today I'm not going to do the fuel pump, which I have everything over here. My braided lines, all that good stuff. I'm not going to do that today, but I'm going to get the ignition stuff done, fire up the car. I am going to change out some pump cams to try out, or maybe not today, maybe when we do the timing. I'm going to do a little bit more carburetor fiddling with it hopefully this weekend on Sunday after we race it. Not this car, but the 64. And yeah, we're gonna try that stuff out and go from there. Hopefully this motor will be a little bit happier with all these changes. Just a lot of new, fresher parts. I've been running some of the same stuff for a while. So yeah, hopefully tonight I have to go get my transfer pump and pull the fuel out of this car because it still has like half a tank, and the Suburban's a little low, so perfect. The Suburban gets premium today. So I'll let you guys go. Obviously, it's a pretty straightforward job. You pull your distributor cap off. You pull your rotor off. You pull your module out, which you can get to here. It's a little tight, but you can get to it. Have your battery disconnected, and you can do this with it in the car as long as you got room. I got room, so I can do it in the car without changing anything. So we're going to have at it, and we'll report back to you guys when we change that and fire it up, see how it changes the idle. The last time I changed plugs and wires, and that made a huge difference in the idle quality. It really steadied out. So hopefully with this, we'll see some changes. All right, guys, I'm making my way back in here. Had to take a quick poop break. And I came back. So I got it done, fired it up. Idle quality is much better. I mean, this engine, like, for having a big camshaft, it barely shakes. It's pretty damn steady. I did take my carburetor off because I noticed that there was some wetness at the base gasket of the main body and the base plate. So I just made sure that it was tight, and I managed to just get a little crack out of it, but I don't want to overdo it, so I did it, by hand. And I think what was happening is there was just a little difference there There was just enough there where fuel would trickle out, and I noticed the last time I was, when I shut it off, that it would steam out of the carburetor. Now, it's fine if you get a little bit of steaming, because sometimes the gasoline, your fuel, puddles in the bottom of the intake, and it'll steam out. But, sorry, I had a fly on my arm. I had to swat it off. But when it does it excessively after shut off and your fuel pressure drops, you have fuel going somewhere else. It should be able to maintain a little bit of fuel PSI even after shut off. So the main thing that tells me that our idle quality went up as well, not only is our RPM on the tach much more steadier, but in the AFR, my idle in the past was like 12.4, 12.5. Now we're in the 13.0 country. So clearly we have much better spark, much better combustion. And along with that, now we got a little bit of a lean spot when we just give it a quick rev. So that tells me that it could use more fuel. And if you guys have been following me long enough, you guys know that last year there was a saga with this carburetor and figuring things out. So in the process of aiding a leak, right? So I made a video about this repair. If you go back to last year, I want to say maybe August, end of July, I made modifications. These are actually door latch screws off of a Mazda. They fit perfect in there, and I modified them because the threads were shot on the squirters, and it's a common issue with Holleys, and it's a $120 repair, whichever way you do it. So I did it for free. I just went up to a metric size. I modified the screw for fuel flow in relation to the passage of the carburetor on the inside. So after I made those changes, I never went back and changed the pump cams because the pump cams were aiding the fact that I had a bunch of fuel coming out of the bottom of the nozzle. I had a really weak fuel stream. So what am I getting at? And again, this is to touch back on the subject and why I'm going to revisit this. So last year when we went to Byron, which was in September for the BOP race, I had to jet this thing way up to run it on open headers. I mean, I went way up. It was considerable how much I went up. And it was solely because I was clearly pushing fuel out of the bottom of the squirters, and it was pushing just a ton of fuel excessively. So, I got it to run right, and then I went up a couple more jet sizes. No changes, so I kind of left it there. I didn't go too far up, but I got it to run good, and then I went up a couple more jet sizes, and actually I lied, it did pick up, and then I just kind of stopped there. But I never went back to change the accelerator pumps. Even though our 60-foot is really good, our best 60-foot in this car has been a 1.58, which is pretty good for this combination, to be honest with you. And that was with a 3500 stall converter. I'm still really on the fence on whether or not I'm going to leave this converter in here or not. I'm going to be honest with you. I talked with JJ about this because it's his converter. And it's not necessarily that it doesn't work. It's just for my combination, I saw absolutely no change in the 60-foot. So, this might be acting like a much smaller stall behind a different combination. I honestly... I know that it can vary based on converter, the stator pitch, and all that fun shit. The fin pitch, not the stator pitch, and all that stuff inside. But neither here nor there. Either way, I'm going to go back and change the pump cams. But the next step is going to be my fuel pump. And we're going to go electric fuel pump. We're going to plumb our lines and do all that fun stuff. And, I think that on the big end, I'm losing a little bit of fuel pressure. This gauge is a little off, but even with my old autometer gauge, it always seemed low. According to Rob MC, this thing shouldn't dip under 4, and I'm dipping under 4. So I think I'm going to go with the Holly Blue, which I have. Duh. That's why I'm going to it. And hopefully our next outing is going to be good. If not, we'll at least run as good as the last time we went out, which is still pretty good. I am going to make a valve lash adjustment. I'm going to go back to where I set my valves a year ago. I did loosen them up. I'm going to tighten them up, a couple thou, nothing crazy, but I'm going to put them back to where I had them before. But our last time at Cordova, the car ran nothing but 12 O's. It still has my dial in. The car ran nothing but 12 O's. two 1197s. You know, our best pass can, you know, it was only off by not even a tenth comparing our best pass to our best pass, you know. So really, it's not that far off, but I would like to get the car to pick up. So hopefully with these changes, again, I'm going for little bites here because it's at the end of the season and I cannot justify spending the kind of money on a gear change or other things. So I'm going to try to find that power with a lot of these little tune-up items that I've had on here for a while. And some people might call it lazy, but the car always ran good. But, you know, it's starting to taper off a little bit. So I got fresh plugs, fresh wires, brand new coil, cap, rotor. I'm going to lock out the timing and try that out as well. And I'm going to have a test distributor for that. And even though our distributor might have a little bit of a weaker spark with those components that I have, I actually do have a new coil, which is probably the main thing. Even though it's going to, you know, even though, let me retract my steps here. So even though our distributor is not going to be the best, it should work for test purposes because we know that it works. We know that it provides spark. And I think the biggest advantage to locking out the timing, of course, like I mentioned earlier, is going to be it'll rev up a lot faster. So little things I'm going to try out. I'm going to go with the little approach like I normally would many years ago and how I normally do things. And I'm also going to try the radials, and I'm going to try some bump stops. So our next outing at the track, I really want it to be a full day of testing. I am shooting for a Saturday so we can get some nighttime runs, some daytime runs. It gives us time during the day to play with the tires and things and see what's going to work and what's not. And then at night, we're going to go for the cold weather, best possible scenario, you know, and you know, hopefully make some power. That's all I can hope for. And then there's going to be, I have made up my mind. There is an announcement I am going to make about the future of what I'm doing, my page next year, what holds for me. And, you know, it's going to be after this project. And it's kind of why I decided to do something like this. And I want to thank you and all my new subscribers. It's not really going to change anything, but our focus is going to kind of get away from a lot of the work, and we're going to focus on something slightly different. And once I get it ironed out and talk with a friend of mine, if he's game for it, then I think it'll be a really good approach for next year. And it's going to be an entire documentation of involving cars, but it's not going to be repairs. So it's going to be slightly different. It's going to be prep and usage, and I'm not going to fill you guys too far into it because I finally came up with a game plan. So either way, I'll let you guys go. I won't bore you to fucking death. Look, you know, this weekend, stay on it because we're going to take Enron 64 out to the track on Saturday. So we'll let you guys go. Share, like, subscribe. Just a little bullshit video. Came out here and worked today. Got all these little items done. Got a couple more to go. See you.